What if I told you that there is scientific evidence showing 4 communication patterns that can predict the end of a relationship if left unchecked? Hi, my name is Travis Goodman, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. And in this video today, I'm going to go over those 4 scientifically backed communication patterns that can predict the end of a relationship if left unchecked. But first, a quick history. Dr. John Gottman conducted couples research at the University of Washington in Seattle, Washington. And they created, him and his researchers, this place called the Love Lab. It was a specifically designed apartment equipped with monitors, with cameras, and the couples were connected to pick up their heartbeat, to pick up their blood pressure, to pick up if they're perspiring, and many other physiological signs. And what they would do is they would monitor the couple's interactions in the day-to-day, and especially during conflict. They wanted to see what was going on underneath the surface. They wanted to see if they can track and monitor different responses occurring in the couple and each individual partner that maybe the eyes, our visual senses didn't pick up, but kind of looking underneath the hood, so to speak. In the midst of this conflict, what was really going on for each individual partner? Dr. Gottman's research has been conducted for well over 40 years, and he gathered enough evidence and scientific data to distill it down into what he called the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Now, I know that sounds doom and gloom, but these 4 horsemen of the apocalypse has been shown time and time again to predict a negative outcome or an end of a relationship if left unchecked, if left unchanged, because these are a poison that will erode any relationship. So now let's break down the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Number 1, criticism. So what is criticism? Criticism is an attack on one's character, not their behavior, but their person. Criticism is often destructive and a poison that begins to erode the relationship. When we criticize someone, often your partner or the one being criticized is left to just be defensive or to withdraw. For example, you come home from a long day of work, you walk in the door and you see dishes in the sink. And what you end up saying is, you always leave the dishes in the sink. You are so lazy. Now, what I did there was attacking my partner's character, their person, that you are so lazy or you never think of me. When we use that type of language, this attacking, heightened language that you always, you never, you're so something, what ends up often happening is the other person is left to defend themselves or to attack back. In contrast, something that Gottman talks about that is helpful in a relationship is something he calls a complaint. Now, a complaint is not attacking the person's character, but it's pointing out specific behaviors. So going back to that dishes example, let's play it back. I come home from work, I walk in the door, I put my bag down, I look at the dishes in the sink, and instead of the attack, instead of the criticism, I say, I've had a long day of work and I feel so overwhelmed by all the chores in this house. I need your help. Do you hear the difference between the attack on the person's character versus complaining about a specific behavior as well as requesting the need? Number 2, contempt. Contempt is the next natural evolution of criticism left unchecked. Contempt is this sense of superiority, acting better than. It's degrading your partner, making them less than. It's making them the enemy. It can look like mocking, sarcasm, condescending tone. It could be eye-rolling, negative body language. It shows a lack of respect and is often void of love, empathy, patience, and care. Gottman talks about this in his book that contempt is like this super poison. It erodes and corrodes and destroys a relationship. This is the relationship destroyer. If something so far has resonated with you, or if you have a question about something, drop a comment below. And if you're looking for further study, for further reading, I'm gonna drop some links below in the description to take you to some further resources. Number 3, defensiveness. And what you'll notice with these 4 is that they kind of go hand in hand. That if someone comes in criticizing you, treating you with contempt, what can often happen is you then get defensive. I defend against the attacks. Your partner will begin to have to prove themselves and maybe say something like, well, you didn't pick up the trash. Well, you didn't put your laundry away. You left your dirty socks out. Defensiveness can also look like making excuses. Well, I didn't have time to put the dishes away. I was so busy picking up your mess. And so we can start to get into this negative cycle back and forth, criticizing, showing contempt, getting defensive, And that leads right into the fourth horseman of the apocalypse, which is stonewalling. So what is stonewalling? Well, stonewalling is exactly what it sounds like. You put this big stone wall between you and your partner. It's often the kind of final part of this cycle, and it's where you put distance. You might emotionally numb out, shut down, stop listening, maybe just simply leave the room or leave the house. Stonewalling can also be when you are feeling emotionally overwhelmed and flooded and your nervous system just kind of goes into shutdown to cope. You see that these four communication patterns kind of start off with criticism, with some contempt sprinkled on there, leading to someone feeling defensive, and then eventually someone stonewalling and shutting down and pulling away. And these four communication patterns, again, that John Gottman found and has proved time and time again, left unchecked, will destroy any relationship. So how do we change? Well, first we begin to recognize if we are getting stuck in these negative communication patterns, if we are starting with criticizing, if we're treating our partner with contempt, if we're finding ourselves being defensive all the time or stonewalling. So beginning to recognize these negative patterns is the first step to change. And we begin to slowly replace them with healthier, more positive communication patterns with time. And if you're looking for positive communication styles rooted in science, you're going to want to watch this next video.